What is up, everybody? Tonight is a special night. It is a few days before the NFL draft as of this recording. And I thought, hey, we got to do our official final first round mock. And, I figured it's time to bring in the big guns for this one. So my best friend, Ian Leakey, is joining me tonight here. Ian and I go way back to about, age 4 or 5 when we first met. We have dabbled in the sport of football since we were about 7 years old. Absolutely obsessed to a disgusting degree, if you will. And, we were talking a little bit, and Ian's been on a few shows before in the past, but we were talking, and we're like, it would be fun to do a final Nickel City Mafia first round 32 team draft. So that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to alternate picks. So I'm going to have all the odd number picks, and Ian will have all the even number picks. Therefore, he will be selecting for our home team, Buffalo Bills. So I'm very curious to see who he takes. I've been on the drafting end of the Buffalo Bills and multiple mock drafts on this channel, so I'm really excited. But first off, Ian, how we doing? Welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to have you on tonight. This is going to be incredible.
Dude, I'm glad to be here. I completely forgot that I'm going to be picking the Bills. I didn't even think about that when I said we should do odds and evens like that. I don't know what it's been like with other mock drafts, but man, I have been on such a mock draft kick this year, and I don't know what it is. I think it's because this draft is so interesting to me because there aren't too many blue chip prospects like there are in other drafts, and it's not like so quarterback heavy like it has been recently. I've really enjoyed like watching what other people say about the different prospects this year in particular. And honestly, it seems like from everything I've seen outside of the first 2 picks, nobody has any clue what's about to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, even the first 2 picks, I mean, they're kind of solidified, but even so, there's still a little bit of gray area where, it could all just be a facade. I do think Cam Ward at 1 is most likely solidified. So just a little heads up, that's probably who I'll be taking at 1. And by the way, I did want to outline just like kind of how our drafting process will go. And I think, it's best to go with a combination of who we think might get drafted and also who we think should get drafted. So combine those 2 things together to get the full logic, and we'll go from there. But, and we can kind of mix it up as we go. But again, really excited for this, and we're going to alternate picks. So yeah, without further ado, if you're good, man, let's get it started here.
Well, before we start, one thing I wanted to tell you, it was I gave you a little bit of a sneak peek before we started recording this.
Yeah.
I have the list of the draft attendees, the people who were invited to the draft, which, sometimes that's telling. I was looking back just because I was curious how many of those guys end up going in the first round, the ones that are invited, by the National Football League to attend. And last year was kind of crazy because all of them got drafted. Every single person who was invited. Now, I went back to see if that was like an anomaly or whatever, and I went back like 2-3 drafts, and that was not the case at all. I mean, most of them were drafted, but there were still 5, 6, 7 guys who were not picked in the first round. But I think the interesting thing about this list is a guy who was left off and a guy who was put on in his place. So you're going to see guys like Cam Ward on this list, Ashton Jeanty, Travis Hunter, right? Those guys who are presumably locked for the first round. Yeah. But Shedeur Sanders did not get an invite, but Jalen Milroe did.
Oh, that is weird.
That's very weird.
Now, that is not very Sanders-esque either. I mean, you think like Shedeur Sanders, the big thing with him is obviously Deion is his dad, and what he did at Colorado was impressive, but also didn't really get a ton of wins stacked up there. He's having his number retired, and the media seems to just gravitate towards that family. So very, very weird decision there by the NFL, I think. I don't know if it was a family decision by the Sanders to just decline it right off the bat, even if they were invited, but that's bizarre. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm looking it up now because I'm not sure if he was invited.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking, it's possible that it says while some sources mention that he was one of the biggest snubs not to be invited, he was on the list of invited players, but I guess he just decided not to go.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Crazy to me when, you're projected to be the second quarterback taken, that you wouldn't want to be there unless you really think you're not going to go in the first round. But the fact that they replaced him with Jalen Milroe is really odd to me because most people have him as a easily day 2 guy.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, he really did impress with his workouts and all that stuff. And I know some teams are pretty high on him, and I think he will get drafted higher than a lot of people expect. But yeah, as you mentioned, I can't see him going into the first round. I think he could be a second round pick for sure, but I just, as a first rounder, I'm really iffy on that one. I don't think that will happen. So
Yeah, good stuff.
This is going to be fun though, man. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and kick it off here in the essence
All
of
right.
time, because we're going to go on forever like we always do. Most of our shows are typically 2 hours long. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off here. And like I said, I was foreshadowing a little bit. I do think it's going to be a lock here. The number 1 overall pick, it's going to be Cam Ward. And I'll tell you what, my co-host Mike Thornton, typical co-host on the Rush Hour show, he thinks the Titans should not draft Cam Ward. He is not about it. He wasn't super impressed per se. Said he was a solid prospect, but he felt like they should go with Abdul Carter here. And I said, it's a good point. You make a lot of good points. You're going to stack that D line a little bit, and you might get the best prospect the Titans have drafted since Javon Curse if you do go Abdul Carter. But I think it's pretty set in stone that they are going to take a quarterback. They are pretty much over the Will Levis experiment at this point. They haven't taken a quarterback this early since Marcus Mariota, and he was the number 2 overall pick. They tried with him. They've tried with Jake Locker. They've tried with Vince Young. They tried with Billy Volek a little bit after Steve McNair was there. Listen, I love Billy Volek. Got nothing but love for him. He did a fantastic job filling in for him when he needed to. But if you're talking strictly first-round quarterbacks that the Titans have drafted, I mean, this could be their best quarterback taken since Steve Air McNair. A lot of similarities. Honestly, height and weight, I think they're almost the exact same, too. So I think Cam Ward is a fantastic prospect here. I know the quarterback class isn't as strong this year, but he stuck out to me. And what he did at Washington State was super impressive, too, before Miami. Like, people are talking about, what he did at Miami and how impressive he was and how he's able to improvise. He's a timing passer, but at the same time, he is an improviser. And he was doing this at Washington State. And you turn on that tape, it's very impressive. I know he played at a lower level, like in terms of the Power 5 schools, now Power 4 schools, playing in the Pac-12 and then playing in the ACC. Competition didn't stack up as well per se, but this guy's got all the intangibles. I think he's going to be a good prospect in the NFL. And I think he's going to be their best quarterback prospect since Steve Air McNair, rest in peace. I'm drafting Cam Ward here at number 1 overall.
And of course, you're right on the money. They're literally both 6'2", 220.
There you go. See,
exactly.
I knew it was similar. Yeah, right?
That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I won't argue with you there. Obviously, it's Cam Ward. So for number 2, I think this absolutely needs to be Travis Hunter. You need to take the best player that's out there if you're the Browns. I mean, to me, the quarterback class this year is pretty underwhelming. I like to watch a lot of those dudes break down quarterback play. I've been watching it like crazy. JT O'Sullivan, even some Kurt Benkirk. Brett Coleman does a little bit of that too, and I love watching those guys and their takes on it. And compared to previous quarterback classes, this one's obviously weaker. And to me, Shedeur is just not the type of guy that's going to turn around the Browns. A lot of Shedeur's passes were at the line of scrimmage, and to me, there's not enough on his tape to show that he can be like, a franchise savior in respects. I mean, it helps when you have like 3 NFL caliber receivers to throw to the entire time. And I think watching those games, I saw how much Travis Hunter popped off the screen and how much better he was than everybody else on the field. It was unbelievable. It almost reminds me a little bit of like how Justin Jefferson is like always the best player on the field when he's on the field. I'm not saying he's that good, but I think he has the potential to. And I also think that Cleveland is the spot that will like allow him to experiment playing both sides of the ball. If you go to a program that's maybe a little more strict about that sort of thing, or they want you on a regimen, or they want you to like, so that, to prevent injury, I think that Kevin Stefanski is going to just let him tinker and try on both sides of the ball. And, when you're the second pick, you just got to take the best player. You just locked up Myles Garrett. Abdul Carter isn't, an absolute foregone conclusion. They're not taking him, but like, to me, Travis Hunter's the clear winner here.
Yeah, and maybe the Browns want to avoid the bad luck of taking a Penn State D end in the first, 2 picks here. They took Courtney Brown 1 overall back in 2000 and didn't really pan out super well for him. All love to Courtney Brown. We're reminiscent on a lot of our older favorite players back in the day. Ian and I have a lot of experience playing with this Browns franchise, specifically on ESPN NFL 2K5. We've played with the likes of William Green, Lee Suggs, some of the receivers there, Quincy Morgan, Dennis Northcutt, and no one is as explosive as Travis Hunter. So, yeah, I like it. I am curious to see what they do. Like if he's going to play full-time defense, full-time offense, that would be pretty incredible to see because it really hasn't happened since like the 1950s. I mean, you look at guys like Deion Sanders and what he did. I mean, yeah, he split time on both offense and defense, but predominantly played defensive, defensive back, cornerback, return kicks too. But yeah, just the fact that Travis Hunter, he can really do both and play at a high level at both positions. It's really, really intriguing to me. And, I know they have Denzel Ward locked up. Martin Emerson is another good corner. Greg Newsome, good nickel corner. I mean, he's going to add to that defensive back room, and that'll be one of the best DB rooms in football, in my opinion. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they could use another receiver because right now you got Michael Woods and Cedric Tillman as your other 2 receivers outside of Jerry Jeudy, who I think is technically lining up a lot in the slot these days, even though he is their number 1 target on that team. So I like it. Travis Hunter, I think that's a lock. 100% agree. Let's go ahead and take him.
And now, as far as who's throwing to him, no clue.
That's a whole nother mystery. I mean, Joe Flacco just signed there, by the way, again. So he's back with the Browns.
But, the thing is like, again, with Shedeur throwing to the line of scrimmage as much, just give him the ball. Any chance you can get Travis Hunter the ball, good things are going to happen. He's just that type of guy.
Yeah, for sure. I love it, dude. Now, this is an interesting one here because you got Abdul Carter on the board, who, in my opinion, is the best available here. But the Giants have really good edge rushers right now as it stands. I mean, you got Brian Burns and then Kayvon Thibodeau there. So it's going to be hard to find a spot for him to be on the field. And if you're taking Abdul Carter, he needs to be on the field 100% of the time. Now, in one of our previous mock drafts where we did it for all the teams, and by the way, we're not doing any trades. We're standing pat with all these teams just in the essence of time because we'll go crazy if we do the trades. But yes, with this pick, it's really tough for me because I want to take Abdul Carter. And I think we made a great point in one of our other shows where when the Giants did win Super Bowls, they had 3 really good defensive ends. Like in the first one in 2007, they had Michael Strahan, Osi Umenyiora, and Justin Tuck. In the second one, they had Justin Tuck. I think Osi was still with the team, and then they also had Jason Pierre-Paul. Yeah. So they had that rotational stud defensive end room, but it's a different defense, first off. They're running 3-4 here. You got 2 stand-up edge outside linebackers, basically, right? And then, to me, I don't know. It's going to be hard to justify taking Kayvon Thibodeau, who, by the way, you took in the first round 3 years ago, and then Brian Burns, who you paid a ton of money for and traded for. You can't take those guys off the field. They're too elite as it is. So I think you're going to go in a different direction here. As much as I love Abdul Carter, I mean, there's some other needs here. And I think, if you're looking at it, you could go interior and you can go with Mason Graham, pair him up with Dexter Lawrence. Then you really got something to mess with. I mean, shoot, as good as Raheem Nunez-Roches is and DJ Davidson, I mean, you plug Mason Graham into the mix there and you have Dexter Lawrence, a top 3 defensive tackle in football / nose tackle. I mean, shoot, that's a dangerous unit. So to me, I'm going Mason Graham with this pick and going to throw things for a loop a little bit. So that's what I'm rolling with. Here we go.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm surprised. I mean, to me, I don't really care that you have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. You got to take Abdul Carter. I think he's generational.
I know.
And I also think that Kayvon has not really shown to be that guy. I've just not seen the production out of what he's done so far. And honestly, you take Abdul Carter, you could put somebody like Kayvon on the block and get some picks back, especially since you're not picking again until the second round. So, you could get a really nice little haul if you were able to turn around a guy like that. But no, I understand the Mason Graham trade, and that's going to make for a really nice D-line in a division where you need really good defensive linemen because you got 3 really solid quarterbacks in that division. You got to get to them. So.
Unreal. And so the Kayvon Thibodeau thing, I had to look up his numbers because I know they were down last year. So yeah, to be exact on that, 5.5 sacks last year compared to 11.5 sacks the previous year. Now, he only did play 12 games last year, so he was injured for 5 of those games. But
sure,
you're right. Production went down a little bit, went down in tackles and a whole lot of other things. I still think he's a very, very good player. But you're right. I mean, when you have the best available here, shoot. And by the way, now New England's on the board. And God, if you go Abdul Carter here, that D-line.
Well,
that front 5 or front 6, whatever you want to call it, that they'll have is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, New England will be sprinting to the podium to put in Abdul Carter, and I will do the same because I don't think you can pass up on somebody like him.
Agreed.
Yeah, honestly, the worst case scenario for the Patriots is if it goes Cam, Travis, and then Abdul. I mean, there isn't a next guy, in my opinion, that makes the most sense for them to take. So I think Abdul Carter will be perfect. Mike Vrabel will absolutely love having another edge rusher like that. And again, another division where you really need to pressure the quarterback, especially now you got Justin Fields running around back there. You need a guy who can keep up with them. I think it's a perfect pick.
I love it, dude. Yeah. God, they'll be salivating. Now, have you seen the rumors? A.J. Brown, first off, terrible, but also hilarious in the same sentence here. He had his car stolen in Philly, right?
I heard that.
He put it out there, basically said, hey, just return my vehicle. Nothing will happen. I won't press charges. But if you don't, you're going to pay the price. And then he changed his ex profile picture to Chase from Paw Patrol, which is freaking hilarious.
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
There's another story with this too, that A.J. Brown supposedly received a New England Patriots jersey that he had, I don't know if he ordered this thing or if he just got it shipped to him or whatever, but he posted a picture of himself wearing it or holding it up. So it's everyone's saying, oh, fulfill the prophecy. And now there's rumors swirling around from an Eagles source, a close Eagles source supposedly, that's saying they would be interested in making the move, trading essentially, and it's a crazy trade. It was A.J. Brown and then their 32nd overall pick for the number 4 overall pick. So they can draft Abdul Carter and bolster that D-line, because they lost some dogs.
They would be unstoppable if they had.
But yeah, that would be ridiculous, right? And then A.J. Brown goes to freaking New England. And then, by the way, New England still gets the 32nd overall pick in the draft, which is just crazy to me. Pretty lopsided trade. But yeah, I did see that rumor swirling around, and it's wild. But yeah, so pretty crazy stuff. Jacksonville on the board here at number 5. So in a lot of mocks, it's been pretty much the general consensus that Mason Graham will be on the board, and that we're going to go ahead and take him. But he's not on the board because I took him with the Giants pick. So this is where I'm gonna. I don't think it's a reach, but it's going to be a little different than a lot of mocks that I've seen out there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Tyler Warren here at the tight end position. We're going to pair him with his former teammate Brenton Strange, and Brenton Strange was a second-round pick for the Jaguars back in 2023, Penn State tight end, and actually part of the reason as to why Tyler Warren's production wasn't what it was this year in previous seasons at Penn State. Still put up decent numbers, even so. But he was splitting time with Brenton Strange and some other guys there, So, Tyler Warren, absolute stud. The dude is just a freak of nature. They lost Evan Ingram to the Denver Broncos in free agency. They released Evan Ingram. They made the decision to go ahead and do that. And this is a guy that's going to come in and make an immediate impact. You can still play Brenton Strange out there. You can run double tight if you want to. But, man, a quarterback's best friend is a tight end. And I think it's been proven over the years. I mean, you look at what Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce did, Tom Brady and Gronk and so on, right? So it adds a nice security blanket for Trevor Lawrence. And I think at this point here, I mean, you're looking at best available players. Tyler Warren should be right up there with everyone else. He's an absolute stud. The dude's running the ball in on wildcat formations. He's catching passes left and right. He's a good blocker. He's a tough, gritty son of a bitch. I mean, it's a great pick for Jacksonville. So we're going with Tyler Warren here with the 5th overall pick.
Yeah, and to your point about Mason Graham, I don't think that the interior defensive line class is pretty deep, but I don't think that the difference between Mason Graham and the next best interior defensive lineman is that big, as opposed to Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, and then the tight end draft class is also deep, but that
Yeah.
Having those 2 tight ends mocked in the first round like they usually are, I mean, they're pretty special dudes. And I think if you're going to unlock all of Trevor Lawrence's potential as best as you can, you just get him as many weapons as possible. Look what he did with Ryan Thomas Jr., right? I mean, and
nasty.
While they seem to be pretty high on Bretton Strange, I don't think this is a reach at all. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you see what Brock Bowers is able to do as soon as he gets into the league. He went 13. That seems crazy to think about now, even though, the Raiders might not be a great team yet, but like just to think that a guy who was playing with, 3-4 different quarterbacks is able to amass those types of numbers. I mean, imagine you get a guy like Tyler Warren and then Trevor Lawrence throwing on the ball. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, I have to look this up too, because I think the last tight end that the Jags took in the first round was Mercedes Lewis back in 2006.
Yes.
Who, by the way, is still technically playing professional football, which is wild. He's like 40 years old now. Guy's just in incredible shape. I remember when they took him out of UCLA. It was like 2006.
2006.
And had a nice career. Was a Pro Bowl tight end with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, get back to your roots. Go ahead and take this guy. And, man, you're sitting pretty. You got some nice weapons. As you mentioned, Brian Thomas Jr. coming off a phenomenal rookie year. And they just have, they still have Gabe Davis. They have some other dogs on that offense, too. They did lose Christian Kirk. They signed Diami Brown in the offseason to a pretty big contract, but the receiver market's inflated, So,
absolutely.
Yeah. But pair him with his former teammate, Brenton Strange. I'd be curious to see how that works out for him. I think it'll be good stuff.
Yeah. Mercedes Lewis always manages a catch.
Isn't that crazy? What do you have this year? You look it up?
1 catch for 2 yards.
I love that, man. Yeah. How old is he? Is he 40?
He's 40. He'll be 41 if he signs, but he hasn't signed with anybody yet, as far as
he's
I know.
Got to be the oldest active. Probably the oldest tight end ever play. Right?
Easily.
There's no way. Yeah. Unless you're talking like those tight ends that split time is like a long snapper, like I don't know. Trying to think of a name.
I was thinking of Pete Mitchell, but I don't know.
Pete Mitchell.
If he
was a Jaguar.
He was a Jaguar. I don't know how long he played for. 38.
Yeah.
I think, roughly. Yeah, something like that. Anyways.
I love it.
All right, so.
Raiders.
This is going to sound like a chalky pick, but it has to be Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
It absolutely has to be Ashton Jeanty. From everything that I've read, there is not a single team who's like low on Ashton Jeanty. Everybody loves this guy. And some people think that he deserved the Heisman over Travis Hunter. And honestly, if Travis Hunter wasn't like a once in a generation, oh my God, he plays 2 positions type of player, Ashton Jeanty would have won this easily. I mean, easily. Yeah. He's one of the highest graded running backs I think we've seen in the modern era. And I think that he will make that offense viable in an AFC West that, the Raiders have been pretty irrelevant in the AFC West for a long time. And it seems like they're going in the right direction, in my opinion. I think Geno Smith has proven me wrong. I mean, if we go back to our predictions for the season, I thought that the Seahawks were going to bottom out in Geno. This was his last ride. I thought we'd see Sam Howell. Not at all. I was completely wrong, and I was really pleasantly surprised. Geno Smith really played well, but it was clear he needed a little more support in the running game and a little more support on the line. I think he's got a slightly better line than he had in Seattle, but man, you have Ashton Jeanty on that team, and I think it goes back to Pete Carroll. He always has good running backs. He always finds the best, like a way to get the best out of his running backs. Marshawn Lynch is a perfect example. So I think you need a guy like that. It's just a match made in heaven, honestly.
Yeah, and it's crazy, dude. I've seen comps to like LT and Elvin Kamara, and it's like I didn't even know he was like that as a pass catcher, but supposedly he's pretty good too, catching the ball out of the backfield. He's an every down back, and the Raiders haven't had that bell cow of a back in quite some time. I mean, they've had experiments. They've taken guys in the first round, such as like Darren McFadden, who had a little flash in the pan there, did some things, and you have a great history of running backs with the Raiders franchise, but they're looking for that guy to come in and make an immediate impact. And the Raiders, they need a running back. Like the Zamir White experiment didn't work out. While they have like Sincere McCormick, who is a great name, all-time NFL names list right now, I don't think he's the guy. So Ashton Jeanty, absolutely love the pick. It's a chalky pick, but it's the right pick. No doubt about it.
You know who else they have? Raheem Mostert is on the team.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect a over 30-year-old Raheem Mostert to be carrying the load the way that Ashton Jeanty can.
Dude, what a fall from grace for him statistically. Like, the dude had a 20 touchdown season, and then last year really didn't do anything. I know he was injured, but like crazy drop in production.
Age comes out at the worst times. It really does.
It sure does.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah,
but
without a doubt, man. All right, well, this is where I have to make a decision here. The Jets are always going to jet. Let's get this straight here. I want to take the best possible prospect for them, but I also think I have to be realistic with my assumptions here. And I think it makes sense to probably go ahead and take a tackle. I mean, you lose Morgan Moses, you lose Tyron Smith to retirement, so you're going to move Olu Fashanu to left tackle, presumably. And right now, I think the right tackle is like Carter Warren or something like that. So it's not great per se. So I think you go ahead and you take Armand Membou there. And I would have taken Will Campbell, but there's been rumors that he's going to kick inside to guard. So I feel like if you're looking specifically at the tackle position and a guy that can slide right in and be a day one starter and an impact starter, you're going to go ahead and take this guy, Armand Membou. Now, if Tyler Warren was on the board at this pick, I would have taken Tyler Warren. The Jets, I like Jeremy Ruckert. He's not a bad tight end, but they have not had a good tight end, like a very solid pass catching tight end since Dustin Keller. And before that, I mean, shoot, they tried with Anthony Beck. They took him in the first round, back in 2000 or whatever it was when they had like 4 first-round picks. And then they took Kyle Brady before that.
Brady.
The Jets are lacking at that position so badly. So I would have taken Tyler Warren, but he went at 5 to Jacksonville. So instead I'm going O-line here. And, while it's not the sexiest pick in the world, it kind of fits Aaron Glenn's motto. He's a tough, gritty guy. He's from the Dan Campbell lineage here for coaching. And I think it just makes a lot of sense. So I'm going with Armand Membou here at pick 7 for the Jets.
Yeah, I love that pick. I mean, I completely agree. Tyler Warren would be the pick if he was still there. But the thing with Will Campbell is a little strange because they're talking about because he has short arms that he might have to kick inside. But you're really going over the raw talent of Armand Membou, or you're going with Will Campbell, who's pretty much a finished product. You just don't know if he's going to be able to be sustainable as a tackle. But yeah, either one of them is perfect pick.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And actually, I wanted to look it up because I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. It's crazy because they have him listed so much smaller on this. I had to look up what he actually was listed at the combine. 6'4", 332. So they're way off on the height and weight here.
That's bizarre.
Does not seem right. Yeah, so 6'4", 332. I mean, arm length 33.5 inches compared to Will Campbell, who's only like 32. And at the tackle position, you need those long arms, man. Membou also too, 4'9", 140, 34-inch vertical, 31 times he bench pressed. I mean, that's really impressive, especially when you got long arms, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, just a really, really good athlete and a player that's, has a lot of experience playing right tackle too. Actually, I want to say that was his only position in college. So he slides right in at the right tackle position there. And I mean, you've seen it be a successful thing. The Eagles have laid out the blueprint in terms of drafting right tackles early and solidifying that position. Started with John Runyon, then it carried over with Lane Johnson. And I mean, they stayed there forever, so maybe the Jets can do the same here. I think this is a home run pick for them.
Yeah, I'd have to completely agree. But
Carolina, baby.
You've now left me with a really tough choice because I'm stuck on I can't believe Will Campbell's here. So I kind of want him, but the real consensus has always been Jalen Walker in this spot because obviously the Panthers defense has just been, I mean, atrocious isn't even a good enough word for it in the last 2 years. I mean, and I get it. Derek Brown was injured all year this year, so that doesn't help. J.C. Horn was battling injury, but like, man, there's just no. It's hard to see some hope in this defense sometimes when you look at it, but pass rusher just seems like a really solid linebacker like Jalen Walker just seems like a perfect fit for them. But I mean, their offensive line is not good. It's just not good. So I'm not sure what I want to do here, if it's Will Campbell or it's Jalen Walker. I think I'm going to go with best player available, and I'm going to go Will Campbell.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, even if he has to slide inside, I mean, you got Damian Lewis at the left guard position. They did sign Robert Hunt to a pretty big contract last year. But yeah, Ike Ekwonu, I'm not totally sold on him just yet at the left tackle position. And even if he has to move to right tackle, Tero Moton, solid right tackle. But yeah, he'll add some value to that offensive line. He will be a starter. So I think that's a good pick there. And when you look at Jalen Walker, the big thing with him is like he's kind of on the smaller side, and I know people have like comped him to Nolan Smith, and he could be a really good pass rusher, but a lot of people are suggesting he's going to be more of like an off-ball linebacker, like an outside linebacker instead, and not so much of that pass rush specialist. So I think you're making the right move here. I like the Will Campbell pick. And this brings us to a very, very interesting decision. And I did this in our other draft, and I think I'm standing pat on it. I had a gut feeling, and this is before we even knew about Derek Carr and his shoulder issues and all that good stuff. Now, you brought up a good point. Shedeur Sanders not attending the draft. Maybe he knows something, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just wants to sit with family and watch it from home, not have all that media attention that day and just kind of take the moment in. But to me, I don't know what there's something my gut is kind of telling me, like New Orleans, they're taking a quarterback. It's not going to be Jackson Dart. It's not going to be Jalen Milroe. They're not reaching. They're not doing that. They're going to take a guy who has been mocked in the first round in a lot of mock drafts. Maybe this is a little early, but at pick 9, the New Orleans Saints are going to go ahead and they're going to take Shedeur Sanders. Now, I know corner is another position of need. They lose Paulson Debo in free agency. There's other positions such as offensive line even too, because Ryan Ramczyk just retired. But I think there's just, again, it's just a gut feeling. This is Aaron Brooks 2.0. We're going Shedeur Sanders. Boom.
You know what the feeling comes from? I don't know if you saw this, but I don't know if it was Dion or Shedeur who said it, but basically they said like, oh, he would look good in black and gold. He likes black and gold.
He would look. I mean, there was Colorado.
Yeah, and there was just something about that quote that kind of got me thinking about this too. I still think that it's a huge reach, but to be honest with you, like you got Kellen Moore in there now. I feel like he's going to want that quarterback position solidified. And there's to be honest with you, this pick is going to kind of determine whether the Saints are going to hit cap hell here because they're already in it. And if they draft a guy like this and they might be doomed to fail for 5 years, or this might be the person they need to rebound and start becoming relevant again.
The Saints have tried. I mean, they drafted Spencer Rattler last year in the 5th round. They experimented a little bit. South Carolina guy, I had a lot of love for him, but he's got a monster arm, serviceable backup, but he is not the guy. Neither is Jake Haener. No offense. And they did sign Ben DiNucci, who I love, but go take a quarterback. You got to get some insurance for Derek Carr. And by the way, if Derek Carr does play this year, it might be the best thing in the world for Shedeur to sit and just learn behind him. But from what I've been seeing with the injury prognosis, it does not look great. And, I know you paid Derek Carr a ton of money, but this is, he'll benefit just from his coaching staff. I think, having Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier as well, I think it's going to be a nice match made in heaven for him. It's a good situation. And you still have some players such as like Elvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, who, by the way, great deep ball threat. So, yeah.
Got Brandon Cooks.
And Brandon Cooks, they brought him back. That's true. Good point. Yep.
What do you think about this idea? If Derek Carr is healthy, trade to the Steelers.
Oh, I could see that.
I've seen this Aaron Rodgers nonsense and just get Derek Carr if he's healthy.
I could definitely see that happening. Yeah.
Well, if there was going to be a reach, that's the reach, and I think everybody mocks that reach. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if that's what happens with Shedeur.
Yeah, I'm standing pat with it. I'm doing it.
Now, Ted, I'm not sure. I think the Bears kind of, unfortunately, they didn't really get a good luck of the draw here as far as who they might want. Can you go over and filter by defensive line, interior and exterior?
Yeah, absolutely.
Edge and interior. See who we got left.
I can't believe how high. I mean, I love Walter Nolan, but he's ranked 7th overall for prospects.
He's pretty high.
I mean, this is PFF, by the way, that I'm using. So every ranking system is different, but that's a high ranking, man. Damn.
Yeah, it is. I've also seen a lot of people. I know they went out and they signed Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney, and Drew Dahlman, but like I still see guys mocking linemen, like offensive linemen, to him, just because like. you never know how those things are going to work out.
I mean, left tackle is Braxton Jones at left tackle is really the only position where you're like, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah. And now all the 2 top tackle prospects are kind of gone at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, there is Kelvin Banks, though, and I do like Kelvin Banks.
I love Kelvin Banks. Big fan.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to go Kelvin Banks.
I like it. I think it's a good move. Not to stir you in one direction or the other, but
no, but we've seen it time and time again. The best teams have the best O-line, and even if just one of those pieces isn't working, things can go awry, and especially left tackle. I mean, that's a huge deal. So whether or not Darnell Wright kicks over there or they put Kelvin in that position, I'm not sure, but just get it shored up so that you have just a really, really solid line. And the other thing too is there's still, one might argue Omarion Hampton, right? But I think you'll still get some really solid running backs and guys who are a little beefier that will complement DeAndre Swift a little bit better in the second round. And they have 2 second-round picks they're not quite back-to-back. It's like Bears, Saints, Bears, I think, because they have the Panthers pick from Bryce Young, second-round pick.
Wow.
So I think it's like Bears, Saints, Bears. So they're going to get a quality running back in the second round. So I don't think they have to reach for Omarion just yet. So I'm going to go Kelvin Banks for sure.
I like that. I think it's a safe pick. It's a good pick. And he's projected as both tackle or guard. He'll be great at either. So absolutely love it. I think he's a great tackle position or great tackle prospect. It's a good position for him to play at the next level. All right. Yeah, I would say this kind of, I'm going to see here. I'm curious. Leaves me with the decision here with the Niners. Could go a lot of different directions. And ooh, man.
There's a lot of directions to go here. I know.
I mean, they did lose Talanoa Hufanga to the Broncos in free agency. And, man. They also lost Charvarius Ward. And I've been taking Jahdae Barron in a lot of these mocks, and I do think he would fit great in that defense. He could play just about any position in the secondary too. Just a really impressive human being. I like everything about him. He tested well, interviewed well, and I think he's a perfect pick for Kyle Shanahan. So, and by the way, they did. Yeah, Robert Saleh is back there in San Fran.
Yes, he is
as the defensive coordinator. So you could do a lot of things with Jahdae Barron. You can get a little creative, and I think it's a great pick. So I'm going Jahdae Barron here at 11.
I like it. The big knock on Jahdae Barron is just that he's kind of small, but that dude is a Swiss Army knife. He's a freak athlete, and I think I don't think it matters. If anybody's going to find a way to utilize him, it's going to be that 49ers team for sure. So I love it.
Out. Yeah.
All right, so. The Cowboys are a little interesting because I have somebody that I think they should take, and I have somebody that I think that the Cowboys are going to take. I think they should take Tetairoa McMillan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the Cowboys thing. I think they're taking Matthew Golden.
Really? Okay, yeah. I could see it. Texas guy.
Yes.
It played at Houston before that. All
that
around
is
Texas guy.
A Jerry Jones pick.
It is.
I'm going Matthew Golden with all my heart, and I don't know. There's something in my gut telling me that. I think that they had a top 30 invite visit with him as well, I believe. And the dude ran a 4.29, and to me,
he's nuts.
I know this sounds a little weird, but the older owners get really fascinated by speed. Like Al Davis, I feel like Jerry Jones is a little like that too. I could just see him being like, man, I want to get that guy on my team. I want that guy running in my new stadium. So I just feel like Matthew Golden's going to end up being the pick. I think they should get Tetairoa McMillan because I think that he complements CeeDee Lamb a lot more. I think that CeeDee and Matthew Golden share some similar traits, so it's a little weird to have both on the field. But, at a certain point, CeeDee's not running a 4.29. I mean, that's a crazy speed. And, Tetairoa is, people have been likening him to Drake London or Mike Evans type, and I think that he could be that type of player. And I think that complements somebody like CD more, but I just also don't see Dak throwing moonballs up to Tyrone McMillan as much as I see, their offense being a little more of a fit for Matthew Golden. And like I said, this is just a Jerry Jones pick all the way, in my opinion.
Well, Jerry Jones is always thinking about revenue. And when you talk about revenue, you're gonna take Tetairoa McMillan, you're gonna take Flash Golden. The Texas guy, the all-around Texas guy, it just makes sense. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Matthew Golden. And I agree with everything you said. I think absolutely. I mean, you look at McMillan, it's wild that he's still available at this point, actually. But Matthew Golden is actually my favorite wide receiver prospect in this class, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you what, like if he's available at like pick 20, I might be, if I'm the Buffalo Bills even, I'm tempted to like trade up and make a move there just because like, shoot, really special player. And you talk about a separator. Holy smokes. And I think he actually complements CD in his own right, just because he does have that speed, that deep play speed. Also a great returner, but they do have KaVontae Turpin still.
KaVontae Turpin,
right?
Yep.
I want to say they still they do still have him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's one of the better returners in football. But shoot, you get both of those guys back there. Wow. Yeah, great pick, Matthew Golden. There you go. All right. The Miami Dolphins. And yeah. So I always think of our good friend Keith, who is on the channel. And he preaches offensive line. He loves the trenches, and he's not sold on James Daniels whatsoever. I think he had like an Achilles tear or something last year. He's only played like 3 games with Pittsburgh. And let's just take a look. I do want to look at interior O-line and the tackles left here. It's crazy because, initially I was really high on a guy like Tyler Booker, but the more and more I see, the more and more I feel like he's more of a day 2 pick and not necessarily a day 1 pick.
Yeah, and he's also just like a certified guard, right? So it's kind of hard to reach for a guard sometimes. When you got a guy who at least plays tackle like Kelvin Benjamin or like somebody who can kick inside like that, it's a little bit easier. Everyone's saying Gray Zabel's not going to play tackle. Like he's for sure not going to play tackle. Now he's a farm boy. He's a dog. He's a farm dog, but like he's going to play guard.
Yeah. And honestly, I think if the Dolphins get to this point at 13 and one of those top tackles or guards are not available, they might trade back here. I don't think they're going to reach and take a guy like Malachi Starks. And I know you love Malachi Starks because the safety position is another potential need for them. Corner is another need with Jalen Ramsey probably being on the outs.
It's a huge need, I think, for them. Honestly.
You got freaking Storm Duck starting for you at corner right now. So I even might go there. And actually, let me see.
Still on the board.
I was just going to say, Will Johnson's on the board here. This should be a no-brainer. Sorry, Keith, if you're watching, love you, and I respect your take on the O-line. I was going to look at interior defensive line too a little bit, or even edge rushers, but I think corner is a bigger need for them. I'm going Will Johnson here. I think at pick 13, it's a hell of a pick for them. So Will Johnson it is. There we go.
Yeah, I think it has to be Will Johnson. Especially with the scenario that we've kind of pulled out with, there's a lot of those top tackle prospects are kind of gone, and and if you still have Will Johnson on the board, I think you got to take it. I think we're seeing a lot of offensive players go early, even though this is for sure a more defensive heavy draft. But I think there's a reason for it, right? They're trying to get the best offensive players available first. They know that it's weaker as time goes on. So here's the thing with the Colts. A lot of people are mocking Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland to the Colts. And to me, I actually don't think that makes a ton of sense. And the reason why I think that is if the Colts are ever going to thrive with Anthony Richardson, I think they have to keep his pass attempts down at first. So he's got 3 receivers that he's starting to develop a bit of a chemistry. I mean, he loves Alex Pierce. Alex Pierce seems to just be his guy down the field. So I don't think they have to go receiver necessarily. I think they got 3 guys there that all have pretty good potential.
And they still have A.D. Mitchell too, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. They do still have A.D. Mitchell. I didn't think about him either.
Yeah.
So to me, receiver doesn't make sense. And to me, I think adding another weapon into that is only going to I think that the play calling there is going to be a little more run heavy. And I don't know if that makes sense. So I actually like the idea of going on defense here. And I also think that the linebacking class in this draft is one of the weaknesses in terms of the defensive class.
Yeah.
I think what you really need to get is a dude who's a leader, a guy who can flat out fly, and somebody who can really be the rock for that defense. And I'm going to go Jihad Campbell here.
Love it.
I think Jihad Campbell would slot in really nicely next to Zaire Franklin. And I think that can make that defense menacing. And, everybody says the AFC South or the NFC South, the South divisions are like the weaker divisions. But you get a guy like that, and your defense could slowly be competing with a team like the Texans, who have an absolute stud defense. But you have a good linebacker like that in there. I think that's a perfect fit for him. Really do.
Dude, absolutely. I was just looking at their D-line too. I mean, you got Kwity Paye. They took Liatu Latu last year with their first round pick.
Yep. You still got DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, who's always been a rock on that D-line.
Yep.
Samson Ebukam, who's one of the more underrated defensive ends in football. Zaire Franklin, who's a freaking tackling machine. I mean, the dude just leads the NFL in tackles every season, or he's up there in the top 3, So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good pick, Jihad Campbell. And he offers the ability to play in a lot of different roles there. I mean, he's really athletic and, kind of reminiscent of like Derek Brooks a little bit. So I love it. Yeah, good pick. Atlanta. All right. This is going to be a fun one for me. I think based on current state right now, I think you gotta probably go with an edge. I mean, they really haven't, and I know so many of these experts out here have been preaching, you go take an edge right away as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, they haven't had someone register, a ton of sacks outside of, a couple seasons like Vic Beasley, the 1 year where he went off. And then before that, I mean, really, we're talking John Abraham and then Pat Kearney before that, so they just haven't gotten a ton of production at the defensive end position. And, Mike Green, you talk about overall production and what he did at college. Really, really impressive. Like 16 sacks
17 and a half. He led the SEC.
Crazy.
Or, not the SEC, the NCAA, I mean, in sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, he Marshall kid. So, that's the kind of the knock on him, right? He didn't play the competition that a lot of these other guys play. But when you look at him on tape and what he did just in general, really, really impressive to me. He can absolutely play at the next level, and I think this is a great pick for the Falcons. So I'm mocking Mike Green to the Falcons for the third time. Here we go. And I say third time because I took him in our other draft before and then another draft that I recently did. So there we go.
They played against Ohio State, and he did really well against Ohio State. I think he had a couple sacks in that game as well.
Yeah, he did. Turn that tape on.
As far as the competition is concerned, I don't know, man. Yeah, he had a sack. He had a tackle for loss. I mean, He could play. He can definitely play.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 251. Just a super impressive player. The TFLs are crazy. A lot of people comp him to Alex Highsmith, who played at Charlotte, smaller school, and look what he's done at the next level here. Probably one of the more underrated edge rushers in football right now.
Absolutely. So I'm a little stuck here with the Cardinals. I want to take Gray Zabel. I think Gray Zabel is a perfect fit for a team like this, but I don't know. Something is telling me that I know they have Mac Wilson and I know they have Josh Sweat, right? But
yeah,
Jalen Walker is still on the board, and I think that could turn that linebacking core into an absolute monster. That defense could be really scary.
Sure. I wonder, do they list him at edge or linebacker?
They haven't listed at linebacker.
Okay. Yeah.
So he would maybe take the place of Akeem Davis Gaither. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
they go out and sign him in the offseason?
They did. They went out and signed him. And then, they got Josh Sweat, still have Mac Wilson. Baron Browning, who I'm not sure who that is.
I like Baron Browning. Good player.
He is a linebacker, but they had Zaven Collins, who was a first-round pick, and he didn't really pan out all that much. He's been pretty much a rotational player. But I think I want to go Jalen Walker here. The only other thing I'm thinking
great value.
It is a great value because I think a lot of people slot him to the Panthers at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Walker. I think they trust in the raw potential that he has, and he's just another Georgia Bulldog, right? If you get a Georgia Bulldog, you know they're talented. You know that they're an absolute menace. It's just about unlocking that potential, and you got Jonathan Gannon there. I think he's gonna be able to find a way to really utilize Jalen Walker, and the production will come. So
As awkward as he is, Jonathan Gannon, he knows how to coach a defense.
he does know how to coach a defense. So
I'll never forget his like opening introduction press conference, and then like when he saw his players like giving everyone high fives, just such a nerd, hilarious. Jonathan Gannon, love it. Yeah, good pick there. All right, Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati. No one knows what's going on right now with Trey Hendrickson, and man, Sam Hubbard retired. You still have Joseph Osai, but this screams edge to me. Like you have to take someone there just as an insurance policy. And by the way, if you have to rotate them in, that's totally fine. And I love that they have Donovan Ezeroku slotted here, ranked 17, because that's exactly who I was going to go ahead and take. You know, I've seen him mocked earlier and earlier in a lot of these mock drafts. And I'll tell you what, I really like this kid a lot. Boston College kid, really good production, just a tremendous player. So yeah, he'll be special at the next level. And he's got a tough name to pronounce, but people will learn real fast just who he is. So really good athlete. And I want to say, 16 and a half sacks this year. That's what it was. Yeah. So you talk about production. Boom. There you go. Through the charts, through the roof.
Yeah,
Donovan Ezeroku, you are a Cincinnati Bengal. Boom.
Yeah, they pretty much have to go deep. I mean, it's a crime if they don't go defense here. I mean,
yeah,
it's an absolute crime,
sure.
especially if you're going to re-sign all these two ridiculous receivers and you're going to leave Trey Hendrickson in the dust. You got to go defense here, and they don't have that many
Al
picks.
Golden prospect too. Al Golden just got signed as their defensive coordinator there, so I feel like that is a perfect prospect for him too. So Boston College guy, absolutely.
So I'm between two guys, I think, for Seattle, and I'm trying to think of who would John Snyder draft in this position. I'm going to say that just due to the fact that they signed 4 receivers so far in the offseason, that they aren't going to go Tetairoa McMillan. I think that ends up mattering. I know that Tetairoa would be an upgrade, right? Like, I know they got Cooper Kupp. I get that. But, like, Tetairoa is a completely different receiver to him and JSN. Like, he's a dude that could really extend the field for Sam Darnold and can make some of those highlights type plays that Justin Jefferson already did for him, right? Sam Darnold doesn't need a safety net; he needs a freak athlete, right? And Tetairoa is that type of guy. He needs a jump ball dude. But I think their need at the offensive line is much greater. Sam Darnold is not as elusive as Geno Smith is, and he also needs more time, I think, to process. Geno Smith, I think, is more willing to huck it than Sam Darnold can be sometimes. So I'm going to go Gray Zabel here. Again, a guy who's just going to slot in and be a starting guard for 10 years, and you'll probably forget that he was in the first round at some point, and you're going to go back and go, oh my God, Gray Zabel's still playing at 32, and this is his 10th year? Yeah, he's still playing, and he's still going to be a dog. So I think it's a perfect fit for him.
Dude, that's great. What a great description, too. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Gray Zabel, you're getting an absolute dog here. He can play every position on the offensive line. Like, yeah.
I think one of his interviews, he said something like, I prescribe to the 3 Fs, farming, family, and football. And I was just like, this guy is just right. I love it. It's like
Mike McDonald's a tough, gritty guy, too. He probably loves that. He's probably licking his chops if he's going to the podium and taking a guy like this. So, yeah, Gray Zabel. Very nice. All right, now Tampa. You can go a few different directions here. I want to take a look at the corners available. I feel like this is too early to take a corner, but they do need some cornerback help. They absolutely do. I mean, Zion McCollum starting at their left cornerback position as we speak right now, and I don't know if he's it. He's a 5th round pick. Safeties are pretty good, but you could probably still use some help next to Antoine Winfield. So this is an interesting choice for me here. And then, by the way, you could go edge too. They did sign Hassan Reddick though, so I think I'm going to avoid going edge.
They did. I don't think that would stop them, honestly.
True. Todd Bowles, you know. They've Yaya Diaby though too, so he's a player. He's pretty good, underrated player. I could definitely see them taking James Pierce though at the same time. This might be one of those picks where I go with my gut. I'm going to avoid taking a safety, and I'm going to take an edge rusher, and it's going to be James Pierce. Just because I see him in a Buccaneers uniform. That's literally what it is. Like, I'm seeing – when I see James Pierce, too, I see like a poor man's Simeon Rice, almost. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but
there's been a lot of character issues with James Pierce. That's the only thing.
Yeah, him. Freak athlete, but yeah, and I think he actually goes, a lot higher than what he's projected if, without those character issues. But I think it's worth a pick here at 19. You go edge, I know you got Hassan Reddick already, Yaya Diaby, but shoot, you're pairing another guy and Todd Bowles. I mean, you're going to get after the quarterback quite a bit in that defense. So yeah, I'm going James Pierce. I think it's a safe pick.
Yeah, I like that. I think for the Broncos, again, this is similar to the Cowboys. I think at this point they should take Tetairoa McMillan, but I really believe in Sean Payton's idea of needing to have multiple running backs who can do multiple things. And yes, it is a deep running back class, and I get that, but I don't think you could pass on Omarion Hampton. I think he is clearly the number 2, and I think that it's not a huge drop off from 2 to 3, but it's significant enough. I mean, him and Ashton Jeanty are really good. I mean, I wouldn't say that Ashton Jeanty is like. I would say he's not far and away better, but he's better than Omarion Hampton. But they're closer than you think. I think Omarion Hampton is somebody that will fit into Sean Payton's offense a little bit better, and like. Bo Nix, even with the receivers that he currently has on the roster, he still played fairly well. I think the big issue is that he didn't have a running game to kind of balance the offense out. And I think that Omarion Hampton fits that bill. And yeah, the fact that he's a good pass catcher. I mean, they always say Bo Nix, his screen passes are basically just handoffs because he's not going to throw an incompletion. He is the wizard when it comes to throws at the line of scrimmage. So you get a pass catching back like Omarion Hampton in there, and that's a team that could really compete with the Chiefs.
Oh yeah,
for the title. I mean, really,
dude, absolutely. Don't sleep on the Broncos. What they did last year was super impressive. They're well coached. They have some offensive weapons. I mean, I talked about them signing Evan Ingram in the offseason, too. You still have Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, who's really blossoming, not just as a returner, but actually as a receiver, too. They got a nice sleeper in Devon Vele, too. Offensive line is really good. Running back is really the only room where it's like, man, you add to that, it's going to be special. Bo Nix coming off a really good rookie season. A lot of people doubted him, but dude, he's legit, and it's a match made in heaven with him and Sean Payton. So yeah, Omarion Hampton, I mean, every year you look at his production, it goes up, and sometimes that scares people a little bit in terms of volume and usage, but like he's an absolute dog, and he's not too far behind Ashton Jeanty. Like Ashton Jeanty, clear-cut number 1 back, but like you said, Omarion Hampton, definitely worth a first-round pick, and the drop-off from him to the next guy is definitely a lot larger. So yeah, I mean, Sean Payton, too. He loves to utilize multiple running backs, and I think Omarion Hampton, while he isn't probably going to be used as a specific bell cow back, he'll be on the field the most out of all those backs, and it's a great pick here at pick 20. So, absolutely. Omarion Hampton it is. And now for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know what you have to do. I think you kind of know.
I think I got to go and take. Now, I've seen that they've met with Jalen Milroe.
Oh, no.
And they liked him a lot.
Oh, boy.
I've also mulled the idea over of taking Jackson Dart. Crazy to see how low ranked he is here, too. 131. I mean, they have him ranked behind all these guys.
Well, the main thing is just because Jalen is a better athlete. I mean, he's a far and away a better athlete. Because when it comes to a thrower of the football, I mean, it's no question Jackson Dart is better. But a lot of these grades are grading out their like athletic ability. And I mean, Jalen Milroe is the best athlete of all the quarterbacks easily. I mean, Dude's insane. Yeah. What did JT O'Sullivan call them? Like, he's a walking chunk. He will get you a chunk. He's a walking chunk play. Like, he will just get you 20 yards just running around.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy because we just don't know who's going to play quarterback for the Steelers right now. I mean,
the thing that seems weird to me, though, is that, if they want to reach for somebody like Jalen Milroe, why did they just re-sign Justin Fields?
Yeah, because I agree.
I wouldn't say that they're exactly similar, but they have a very similar skill set. Why would they just keep Justin Fields instead of wasting a first-round pick on Jalen Milroe, who is already a reach, as we've said?
No, I agree. Yeah, it's tough here.
It's hard to see a Steelers quarterback like Jalen Milroe. I mean, I guess, Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, Cordell Stewart. Exactly. I mean, they took a chance on him. He played both receiver and quarterback for his first 5 years in the NFL.
That's right.
By the way, Colorado needs to retire his number. I mean, you're talking about a guy that won a natty there, and the fact that he hasn't had his number retired is insane to me.
The fact that Shedeur got it retired before him is insane.
Yeah. And people are pissed that Shedeur is getting his number retired. Well, you should be pissed at the program for not acknowledging what, Cordell Stewart did there.
Right.
And being a first round pick. And then you had some other guys, that were with him too. Michael Westbrook. And then, what's his name? The running back. Gosh. Rasheem. No. Yeah. Who was it? I can't think of his name. Heisman winner. Good God.
Running back for the Colorado?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
This is 1980.
No, this is the 90s. This is early 90s.
When they won the natty? No, 90.
No, we're talking early to mid 90s.
1990 was the year that they won the natty.
Yeah.
Well, Eric Bieniemy was the running back that year.
That is crazy, by the way. Yes, Eric.
1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns. That's ridiculous.
Damn, what a year. Okay.
With Cordell, it probably was this year, 94. Oh yeah, for sure. Rasheem Salim.
Rasheem Salim. Thank you. Good guy. I knew it started with an R. Yeah, Rasheem Salim.
Yeah, he went to the Bears and he didn't pan out. I do remember all this.
No,
stuff.
He did not. Yeah. All right, going back to the Steelers, man. This is really hard. You could go safety here. I could see, Deshaun Elliott, they have a ton of, they want to rely on him. I mean, you got Minka. That'd be a nice pairing. You take a guy like Malachi Starks even.
Oh, that's a great pairing.
And I feel like the Steelers have tried you're going to reach here if you're taking a quarterback, whether it's Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe. So I'm going to go a different direction, and I'm going defense because it is the Steelers, and they tried with Kenny Pickett a few years ago, and I feel like Mike Tomlin's kind of off that train.
Yeah.
They're going to ride it out. They're probably going to sign Aaron Rodgers, if we're being honest here. I mean, he's been having throwing sessions with DK Metcalf. He went and toured the facility.
They kind of have
conversations. And Mason Rudolph, though, play, man. Almost won a playoff game against the freaking Bills a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
all hope is not lost with Mason Rudolph. I think they did him dirty in Pittsburgh, honestly. They've done him dirty in a lot of areas.
Assault part 2?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm going Malachi Starks here. Safety. That's going to be a nasty safety room.
God, he's one of my favorite players.
Starks. Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, I love Malachi Starks. I just think that he has the ability to be kind of like like an Ed Reed instinctual type player who just is just intelligent and knows where to be at all times and can give direction to his teammates. I just think he's got that ability. And I just think that all Georgia defensive players are unbelievable. But
what I love with him too is he can play anywhere on the field. You can line him right on the line of scrimmage. I mean, he can do so many things and just such high IQ, super impressive to me. So he fits that Steelers mentality perfectly.
Well, this next one needs no explanation. Kenneth Grant, throw him in there. 100% has to be. I mean,
hate this so much.
It has to be Kenneth Grant. I mean,
I was banking on him just falling off the wayside here.
Jim Harbaugh is the coach.
I know. No, it makes too much sense. You're right.
It has to
either
be
him or
Grant.
Colston Loveland, right? I mean, it's
it
one
would
of the
be
two
one
guys.
of them. But to me, Kenneth, I think that they are in love with Kenneth Grant. I think that Jim Harbaugh talks about Kenneth Grant constantly. I think that that's such a Harbaugh type move. And it fulfills a need. And yes, I know they need receivers, and I know they need tight ends. But again, think about it this way: there's been one receiver off the board so far. So there's still a plethora of decent receivers out there that you can trade up for if you really like a Mecca Buka would be an awesome get for them, I think. And then even for tight ends, I mean, again, we've only got one guy off the board thus far. So in this scenario, in this mock draft, we still got Colston Loveland on the board. We still got Mason Taylor coming up at the end. Elijah Royo, who could be really good. So like, if you really want one of those playmakers, just trade up for him in the second round. But like, dude, they love Kenneth Grant, and he will be like Casey Hayward. He's just gonna be there. And again, we're gonna look at his Our Lads and 11 years ago. Wow, he's drafted in 2025. Holy crap!
I know, right? Man, yeah, it makes sense. They lose Poona Ford too. I mean, they signed. Did they? No, they didn't sign anyone. Did Deshaun Hand maybe they signed?
They have Deshaun Hand, and they also signed Naquan Jones. But like, man, I mean, you look at that defensive line, and it's the only thing holding them back. Because I think they have a really good secondary. Derwin James is obviously a beast. They signed Dante Jackson. They have Benjamin St-Juste. Their linebacking core is obviously ridiculous. When you have Denzel Perryman, who's still playing 10 years later, and Khalil, you just need
Thule too.
Yeah, and you lost Joey Bosa, so you got to beef that D line back up. And Kenneth Grant's perfect.
I agree 100%, and I'm sad about it, but yeah, last of pick 22.
I know.
Yeah, I know. All right, so Green Bay, I'm going to rule this out immediately. I know Tataroa McMillan's staring us right in the face, but the Packers don't take receivers in the first round.
They do not.
Don't get it twisted. They're not taking a receiver this year. They're not doing it, okay? By the way, they still have some players there. You know, I know they listed as a need for them. It's like number one need on here, but I mean, shoot, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, and Romeo Dobbs. That's a solid receiving core.
Yeah, Dontavius Wicks.
Yeah, Dontavius Wicks too. Yep. Really, when you look at need positions, I think defensive line. I mean, you talk about edge, like that is a need for them, really.
I mean, you got a guy staring you right in the face right now. Oh.
It makes too much sense. I think you got to go Shamar Stewart. He is a prototypical Green Bay Packer. So I'm taking him here. What is he? 267, I think, something like that. 6'6", 290. I don't think he weighed in 290, did he? No.
Yeah, he's a bigger dude. He's a big dude, I think.
Is he really that big? Let me take a look. I got to verify this on the NFL.com one here. I thought he was a little bit lighter than that. Yeah, 6'5", 267. PFF is always off on their weights. Yeah, but I mean, again, 6'5", 267, really good athlete, 40-inch vertical, dude, 4.59 40. The dude can freaking move, 10-11 broad jump. I mean, just a really, really solid player and a great value pick for them here. So I think it's a no-brainer. I like Scourton a lot. I think Stewart's better, and just a tremendous pickup here. You're going to start him right away, day one. Right now, you got Kingsley Egnabari starting for them at the defensive end position. You're going to switch him out for Shamar Stewart, and they're going to be very happy with that. So here we go. Boom.
Yeah, I like that. I think that if any team is going to trade out of the first round, it's Minnesota. They have 4 picks the entire draft. So
yeah, that's crazy.
I would like to preface this by saying they're probably going to trade out, but if they stay, I think with the players on the board at this point, we're looking at either Walter Nolan doesn't really fit what they want to do.
They did sign
They signed Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, who are not surefire. I mean,
and he's still got Harrison Phillips.
Yeah, but it looks like they're having him at nose tackle. So like Walter Nolan, I don't think would play nose tackle. I think he'd be.
No, that's like it's crazy because he's like undersized, but like that is his.
He would play nose tackle.
Yeah.
Well, if that's
actually, I want to look at the amount of snaps.
If that's the case, I would want him. I would draft him right now.
Yeah, you look. Actually, no, never mind. 432 snaps in the B gap. I thought he played more A gap.
I was going to say more like in a 3.
Definitely undersized.
Yeah. 6'3", 305. Yeah.
Really good run stopper, though. Oh, they're saying 3 tech, too. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. Definitely. Crazy that they have him ranked at 7. Wow.
Yeah, I know. They have him high. I really think that they trade out of this spot, but I think if they're still sticking around, there's not a lot of secondary guys that I like right now. Malaki Starks is off the board. Yeah, there's Nick Emmanwori, but like to me, he's not your prototypical safety. And like I feel like if you're going to draft a secondary guy, it needs to be more of a definitive position right now. I mean, God bless Harrison Smith, but he's not getting any younger. And like a guy to kind of back him up would be great. I don't know if Nick Emmanwori is that guy. Malaki Starks would have been that guy. And I don't like any of the corners yet, in my opinion. Those to me, a lot of those guys are second rounders, with the exception of maybe Siobhan Rebel. But this is too high for him. So I think I'm gonna go. The fact that Walter Nolan's still on the board shocks me. So I think I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, I mean, probably best available, honestly, at this point, outside of Tataroa.
Yeah. I think you just need to, if you got 4 picks in the draft and you're not trying to get more picks, you just need some dudes. Get Walter Nolan in there, give some competition to Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, and like, hey, if you could save some money and end up cutting one of them, probably Jonathan Allen, if anybody, then awesome. Like, you found a guy for the future. That's great. So
that D line is stacked. Damn.
Yeah.
Nice pick. I like it. All right, Houston. They need an offensive tackle. You lose Laramie Tunsil, and you have to address that need immediately. Josh Simmons makes too much sense here. I'm not going to even consider other players right now. So Josh Simmons it is. I'm taking him for the Houston Texans. Boom.
Yeah, I think everybody has Josh Simmons going to the Texans.
Yeah, it's just, and at this point, he's like the only guy available that's like, all right, that's a first round tackle for sure.
Right.
You know,
I feel bad. I think this tends to happen sometimes with receivers with his skill set. It's like, it's not valued as much as like a dude who can run fast, or a dude who has like ridiculous hands, or a guy who is like an excellent route runner. And I'm not saying Tedero is not any one of those guys, but he's, again, his like build is Drake London and Mike Evans type. And unless you become Mike Evans, unfortunately, those builds don't always last in the NFL. You look at like Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess sort of dudes, or like Justin Hunter, who was a guy for us for a little while there. Like those guys, just for whatever reason, unless they become that, they take that extra step and become that Mike Evans type. I think teams might catch on that maybe, although he's a great athlete, that skill set might not be as valuable as a guy like, like I said, Matthew Golden and Mika Buka, those types of guys. The Rams are tough, but I mean, Colson Loveland's sitting right there. I think you got to go Colson Loveland. I mean, this dude is, he would easily be the best tight end in the class if it weren't for Tyler Warren. But like, I mean, I would say top 15 player. I mean, there are some people that have Colson Loveland over Tyler Warren, if you could believe that. It's really, I think a lot of it's just like what kind of tight end that you want. Colson Loveland doesn't seem like he's going to be necessarily the type of dude who's going to, be blocking for you all the time, but he is definitely a basically a big bodied receiver out there. And like,
they love him, man.
You get a guy like him, and then you have Devontae Adams and Puka. I mean, just keep beefing up all the skill position players so that Matt Stafford can keep, just thriving, just absolutely thriving. And I wanted to go offensive line, but the fact that they re-signed Alaric Jackson and like, Rob Havenstein is still there. Jesus, that's crazy. And Josh Simmons just left, just got taken. So I don't think there's a guy I'd necessarily reach for at this point. So go with Colson Loveland, best player available. Another Tyler Higbee guy there. So
yeah, and it's Tyler Higbee has had his moments, and statistically has had some okay seasons there too. Actually, pretty good seasons, but he just can't seem to stay on the field. And then Colby Parkinson, I don't know what happened. I thought he was going to explode in that offense.
Yeah, you did.
Never came to fruition. Like, dude, I took him in all of my every single fantasy league I was a part of. By the way, I have 17 fantasy teams. I think I had him on 15 of my 17 teams. I'm like, it's going to happen. Just never did. So, yeah, I mean, Colson Loveland, Sean McVay, that is, boom, match made in heaven. So, a lot of comps to Sam Laporta, actually, for Colson Loveland. So, when you're seeing stuff like that, he's just a really, like, smooth athlete, good receiving tight end. So, fits that offense perfectly. Yeah, good pick. And the Ravens always do the right thing. And I think the right thing here is to get a safety. And that's going to be Mr. Nick Emanwari. Actually, my favorite safety prospect in the draft. I am a South Carolina fan, so I'm a little biased. But, dude, I mean, size-wise, everything. Like, what did he test with? Like, the numbers. That was ridiculous. It was like a 40-inch vertical. And I know, like,
and
these
he's
are
like
just
6'3".
Yeah, he's like huge. He's 6'3", 220. Ran 4.38, 11.6 vertical, 43-inch vertical, benched or broad jump, 11.6 broad jump, 43-inch vertical, 20 times he bench pressed 225. Long arm. I mean, just really, really awesome player. Yeah, gonna be a day one starter, Pro Bowl potential all over him. Yeah, just amazing.
He's got longer arms than Will Campbell.
Oh, yeah. And, dude, you pair him with freaking Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
Good God, man. The Ravens always, I don't know what it is. They draft so damn well. I'm so jealous because I love Brandon Beane, but I just feel like the Ravens have had such a good history of just nailing on those first round picks. I mean, it started with freaking John Ogden and Ray Lewis back in the day, and it's been nothing but hits since. I mean, just incredible. Todd Heap, Haloti Ngata. The only one they really didn't hit on was Matt Elam, who is the uncle of Kaiir Elam. I can't remember another player that they didn't hit on in the first round. So
I'm not sure.
Nick Emanwari, we're taking him.
I like it. I like that. God, that's going to make that defense real scary.
Yeah.
The thing with the Lions, I don't understand why they think wide receiver is a need.
Supposedly Jameson Williams is on the trade block, or they're shopping him around.
That seems nuts to me. Again, this is a team where I can't picture them going offense.
Yeah.
When you got guys that are ripe for the picking. I mean, Michael Williams hasn't been picked. You got to take Michael Williams here.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is crazy.
You have to take Michael Williams here. I think that you talk about unbelievable freak athletes. Another Georgia dude. He's awesome, and I think you have him opposite Aiden Hutchinson potentially. That could be a really, really, and then you have Marcus Davenport as a rotational piece instead of a starter. I think that could be really scary. And clearly they need defense. I mean, yeah, they could put up 50 points a game like it's nobody's business. Doesn't matter who's playing receiver for them. But what they really need is some help on defense. And
it's unreal value.
Yeah, and I love their secondary. I think their secondary is really, really good. And I still have love for that linebacking core. I think if anything, the big defensive need is on that line, and you saw how much it affected them when they lost Aiden Hutchinson. So have an insurance policy in case something else like that happens. So Michael Williams for sure.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, you made a lot of good points there. That secondary is ridiculous. They lost Carlton Davis, but they still upgraded and got DJ Reed. That doesn't happen very often. And I love Carlton Davis. He's a great player. He went and got paid in New England, but DJ Reed, I think, is an upgrade from him, and they're paying him less money. So yeah, that's going to be scary. I know they lost Aaron Glenn, and who's coaching the defense? Kelvin Shepard, right? He got promoted to DC.
He did,
I believe.
He did.
Damn. Yeah, that's going to be nasty. I like it. All right, now Washington here. A few receivers on the board that really they can go to here. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. They have Scary Terry. They have Debo at the slot. So I think, and I like Noah Brown, but shoot, Tetairoa McMillan, make him a first rounder here at 29. This is incredible value, right? Give Jaden Daniels another weapon.
That is wild value.
I'm taking him at 29 all day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, that would be incredible. I would be so interested to watch an offense. I don't think I've seen Tetairoa drop this low. And I that would be a crazy value.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, why not best available at that point at 29?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Goodness. All right. I mean, here we are.
Here we are, folks. I know who I would take.
Who would you take? I have a guess, but
I would take Derek Harmon.
Yeah, that's exactly who I thought.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and you and I have talked about this. I think this pick has to be interior D line or a corner, and I just think that the cornerback need is higher. It's stronger. I mean, bringing back Tre'Davious White does what? Not much. We have a history of doing this.
We
For
do.
some
We
reason,
really
we
do.
like to bring in back these veteran guys, but like they don't play well, and I just can't imagine Trey White coming in there and just being that, even a solid second cornerback behind Christian Benford. I think, and I've heard the argument for this because of what the type of defense that the Bills play. I think Maxwell Harrison slots in there really well.
Yeah, he does.
And I think that he's a guy that we would need to take here. And the Bills, in my opinion, when they draft, they typically don't reach. They kind of just get the guy that everybody thinks that they're going to get that fits them the best, right? Everybody kind of thought they were going to go tight end, and they got Dalton Kincaid. Anytime we go pass rusher, it's kind of like guessed at who we're going to get. And I just think that Maxwell Harrison fits the scheme as best as possible so that we're not missing a beat, even though we lost Rasul Douglas. And yes, we absolutely need defensive linemen, and I get that. But I also think that, again, this is a position that there haven't been that many taken yet. You still have Derek Harmon on the board. There's Darius Alexander later on in the draft. And I like a lot of those guys. Norman Lott would be a decent pickup at some point. I even like Tyleik Williams eventually,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that a guy who just needs to be a big body to stop the run, I think you can find that in later drafts. I don't think you could find a cornerback that slots in well enough like Maxwell Harrison does. And also, I'm a little biased because he was invited to the draft. So I think he might go in the first round. So yeah, I'm going Maxwell Harrison here. It could very easily be Derek Harmon, though. It really just depends on who Brandon Beane likes more. I think if we were at this stage, does he like Derek Harmon more? Does he like Maxwell Harrison more? I don't know, but I think it's between those two.
Dude, did you watch, by the way, little sidebar, but it goes hand in hand with the Derek Harmon argument. Did you watch the Bussin' with the Boys Under the Hood, Oregon visit? Dude,
no.
That strength coach is a psychopath. I love him so much. And that, like, the trenches there, the O-line unit in particular is, like, awesome. Like, so tight-knit, and it was cool to see, like, Taylor Lewan interact with them.
Yeah.
But, dude, it made me want to, like, go to an Oregon game this year. Like, I am fired up to watch them play football. I freaking love Dan Lanning, too, by the way. But just going to that culture, like, Derek Harmon would be a great transition from Oregon to the Buffalo Bills,
Right.
So... But that was incredible. Do yourself a favor and watch that. But Maxwell Harrison, he has definitely grown on me. I think the only concern I really have is that he had a shoulder injury where he missed like 6 games last year.
Yeah.
But whatever. He's a little on the smaller side, but the dude is, I mean, his nickname is Mad Max. He's a feisty mother effer. Like, he is willing to get a little dirty out there, do what he has to do and clean up when he needs to. So,
and he can play on the outside a decent amount too. I mean,
dude, that's what he is. He's an outside zone corner, so like he fits the scheme perfectly. So it's a good argument. I wouldn't be upset if we took him here. I think we're just a little gun shy because of the whole Kaiir Elam thing that we missed on. But this is where you take Max.
I also think that Kaiir wasn't a scheme fit.
No, he wasn't. Not at all.
I think they just took him because it was best player available at the time, and everybody said, "Oh, you need to get a corner," and I think they got kind of pressured into doing it. But like, to me, I mean, the writing's on the wall. You got to take a guy that will fit your secondary the best, and honestly, that's what kind of screwed us over a lot of the times. Was just like letting guys run free. Yeah, we definitely need to do a better job stopping the run. I just think it's easier to find a guy to slot in and be a run stopper than it is to find a specific zone cover outside corner that fits your scheme well. And he's certainly not going to be there with your other 2 second round picks. So in my opinion, Darius Alexander could probably still be there with one of your second overall picks or second round picks. Take Darius. Like, he's a dude that can slot in and stop the run easily. And him compared to Derek Harmon, I don't think is that crazy of a drop off. So,
well, also too, it's like CJ. I really like CJ West. Talk about an underrated prospect. CJ West, dude, he is a really, really good player. A little bit shorter with his arms, so I don't think the Bills will take him. I think he's under 32 inches. But yeah, I mean, look at his pro comp. Freaking Timmy Jernigan. Absolutely love that. Look at the snaps taken in the A gap compared to B gap. You know, I mean, he moved more and more inside just about every single season.
Right.
Wow, actually, 2022, 322 snaps in the A gap. Holy smokes. But underrated prospect. I've watched a little bit of tape on him. This is a guy that you can get on a day 2 pick. So
Sure.
There are other guys out there. I mean, freaking Dion Walker, who we do have a video on. Our boy Brett McDurphy did a nice insider video on him. I mean, 6'6", 6'7", 340. I mean, that's a no-brainer too, right? So, and you can add on that interior D-line. You can even double up on it if you want to. To your point with the cornerback position, are you going to find a day 1 starting corner with a second rounder? You might. Darian Porter, who I think is probably my favorite prospect at the cornerback position, he might be available there at 56 or whatever. But Maxwell Hairston is more pro ready than he is even. Like Darian Porter only started really 1 full year at Iowa State. So yeah, I think it makes sense. So I see where you're coming from, and you can get some other really good interior D linemen, on day 2. And we have 2 second-round picks, by the way. So,
and I would not be upset if they double, like with those 2 second-round picks, they got 2 defensive tackles. Like, absolutely, go for it.
Double up on it.
You need to just keep throwing darts at the board because for whatever reason, the Bills have never been great drafting defensive linemen. So just start throwing darts at the board and get as many as you can.
Yeah, honestly, right? I mean, I always say like build from the front back. So my whole point was, start by getting stud defensive linemen, but this makes sense. When you have 2 second rounders, like you said, you could even double down if you really want to. So why not? And by the way, we still have Daquan Jones. It's not like we have nobody there. I know he had a little bit of a down year last season, but like at the cornerback position, it is on paper right now the top position of need, in terms of who's starting day 1. So it makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean, if Christian Benford gets hurt, you don't have a number 1 corner anymore. Like, you just don't. And even Christian Benford, I mean, he's solid. He's
injury prone.
Yeah, and he's not some all-world guy.
I think he is. I mean, he's an all-pro. Like, he's legit. But who else do we have after that? I mean, Dane Jackson's serviceable. But, like, and Trey, I love Trey.
Marcus Ingram out there in the playoff game.
Yeah, And then we got Brandon Codrington, who's more of a return guy. I mean, you can't be doing that. Ain't no way. And our cornerbacks, for whatever reason, always get injured. So, yeah, you got to add to it. All right. Well, I got to take someone for the Kansas City Chiefs. And personally, I'm looking at a guy right now in Nick Scourton, who I think, I mean, shoot, it's just not even fair at this point. Why does this stuff happen? I guess we enabled this, didn't we? I want to take him or Landon Jackson here because I think they're going to go edge. As much as I like Mike Dana, I think they could use a better edge player there. So they did take Felix Anudike-Uzomah, but he hasn't really panned out for them.
Man, I thought you were going to say offensive line. I mean, anyone.
O-line is a need too. Yeah, I mean left tackle really when you look at it. But they signed Jalen Moore, didn't they? Yeah, they did. I don't know if he's the answer per se. They kicked Kingsley Suamatia inside. Still have Juwan Taylor. Yeah. Let's take a look real quick. I mean, Donovan Jackson, Josh Carley. This is actually, it's crazy. Like, out of all the years, I think this is the least amount of O-line tape I've watched. Because I just feel so good about our offensive line. And I know you can always use more offensive linemen for depth. But I just don't feel great about any of these guys right here. I mean, Donovan Jackson, I like. But, yeah. I mean, he's technical player. But he's going to kick inside most likely. That's what I've been seeing. And I feel like left tackle is more the need for KC. So I'm going to go edge, and I'm going to go and take Nick Scourton here. I'm not taking Landon Jackson out of respect for my co-host Michael Thornton because he loves Landon Jackson. That is his draft crush. So I'm not going to crush his dreams by taking him. So Nick Scourton it is. Boom. And I think our boy Weston Brewster, who follows the show, taps into a lot of our live shows. He's spoken very highly of Nick Skouerton, so I think he'll be very happy with that pick. So shout out to you, Weston. Hope you like that one.
Man, that's who I was going to take with the Eagles in this next pick.
Oh yeah.
So I need you to do me a favor and just look at edge and interior D line, just to see who's left.
You could break Mike's heart here.
No, I don't like Landon Jackson here. Ooh, we're going Derek Harmon.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good pick. It's a great.
It has to be Derek Harmon. Absolutely.
Who from Georgia's available? Anyone from Georgia still on the board?
No, dude. They're all gone. Michael Williams is gone. Jalen Walker's
gone. Yeah.
Malachi. Yeah, I was between him or one of the corners, but honestly, if Tetairoa McMillan had fallen to them, I would have snatched him in a heartbeat just to make that offense even scarier. I've also heard a lot of like Dallas Goedert trade news.
I've seen that
happens. Like
Colston Loveland's in play.
Colston Loveland could be in play. I mean, obviously he's already taken, but like maybe they trade up for him or something.
Yeah.
But I think this tight end class is pretty deep. Now I will say Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren are pretty high up there in terms of like overall prospects in this draft class. But the rest of the tight end group is no joke. I mean, you got Jason Taylor's freaking son that's getting drafted.
Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah, Elijah Arroyo is really good tight end. Mason Taylor, there he is.
Terrence Ferguson too, yeah. Yeah, you're right. How do the Eagles always have a good tight end too, by the way? Like, I feel like dating back to, I mean, you look at like, I don't know. Who's their tight end back in like the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they did have Harold Carmichael, who, by the way, was like 6'8". Who basically was a tight end.
I think his name was like Bavaro or something like that.
No, you're thinking Mark Bavaro. He was with the Giants. But I mean, Chad Lewis. You got freaking Brent Selleck. Then you had Zach Ertz after that. Then Dallas Goedert. And they always have like the tight end in waiting that they draft. Like when they had Chad Lewis, they took L.J. Smith. And L.J. Smith was a solid player. And they took Brent Selleck. And then they took Zach Ertz. And then they took Dallas Goedert. And they're always like sitting and waiting. And then they just propel them. And they move them into that starting position. It's crazy. It's really incredible.
I'm trying to find that tight end that you're talking about because I know who you're talking about. In the 80s.
It was a good player too.
Oh,
this is crazy. Eagles tight ends here. I gotta just.
Was it Keith Jackson?
Keith Jackson. Yes, great player. Yeah.
Yeah, he only played for 4 years, but I mean, he was an All-Pro all his first 3 years.
Yeah, Keith Jackson was sick. Yeah. So again, I mean, and what was it? 80s, right? He played.
Yeah, he was in the 80s. Going into the early 90s.
Man. And then Chad Lewis, and then L.J. Smith.
Oh my God, they put Keith Byers out there at tight end for a little bit. Remember Keith Byers?
Wow. Yeah.
Apparently he was an H-back / tight end. I didn't realize that. I thought he was just a running back. But anyways, yeah, Derek Harmon, definitely the pick.
I like it.
That team's just going to get more dominant, and we're all just praying that we could somehow compete with them in the Super Bowl. That's all. Because man, once they got over the hump the first time, I don't see how they don't just destroy the NFC East again this year.
Oh, without a doubt.
Even the people that they lost, it still feels like they're the best team in the league, even though they lost Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, and Darius Slay. Like, it still feels amazing.
Oh, it's nuts, man.
And think about it this way too: there's so many receivers that are still left on the board. We only took 2. I mean, they could go. Imagine them with Emeka Egbuka in the second round, or Luther Burden. Round. Oh, God,
it's crazy to see the fall for Luther Burden too. I feel like he is just a slot receiver in the NFL, and that's probably why it's hurting his stock a little bit. But like, he was mocked as early as like 12 or 10 or 7. I think I saw in some drafts where the Jets took him. There was a few like early on.
Wow,
I'm like, this is crazy.
That's very.
And now he's fallen out of the first round completely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, look at that first round complete, man. I love it. This was fun. We did a great job. I'm going to have to take a screenshot of this so we remember it for draft night, which by the way, we will be live. We already have the show out there. So tune in live at 8 p.m. Eastern. We will be live the entire first round of the NFL draft. And I believe Mike is going to be live on day 2 and, for rounds 2 and 3 as well. So I will not be available that day, most likely, but I will be live during the first round. Ian, we'd love to have you on that as well, because it'd be great to have just some additional analysis. So
yeah, it would pop on.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. But yeah, first round complete. The final mock draft for Nickel City Mafia. Here it is, folks. Any surprises, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Anything you disagree with, agree with, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Drop a nickel on that subscribe button as well. And, stay tuned for more content like this. Ian and I definitely have to do more of these shows because, like I said early on, we're just obsessed with the sport in itself. And I feel like, dude, you bring a lot to the table. You're really good at speaking and did a fantastic job with your draft here.
I appreciate it. Yeah, always fun.
Look at this too. This is wild. We took 3 Texas players in a row there from 10 to 12.
I do see that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
A couple Penn Staters in a row there.
2 Penn Staters in a row. Yeah. Yeah. I love how it panned out. It's very, very interesting.
But all the Georgia Bulldogs are all separated, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, they're spaced out pretty good. I love it. But all right. Well, hey, we'll wrap it up here. Look at us, under 2 hours. That's pretty good. But,
it is pretty good.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, man. It was fun. We'll do more of this. We definitely have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, yes, leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. And, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Buffalo Bills. And, if they trade out of that spot, if they stay pat, or if they trade up, it's going to be a great time. But with that being said, go Bills. And take care. And thank you so much for watching.